Let's talk supply chain. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Let's Talk Supply Chain. So let's get started with a question. The pandemic really boosted customer demand for same-day delivery, but what was its projected growth in 2024? I'm not sure. I feel like post-pandemic, people reverted back more to 1, 2, or 3 day delivery expectations. But what do you think? Well, let me know your guesses over on social and keep listening because I'll let you know at the end of the show. So today I'm joined by a brand that was selected as the last mile company of the year at the 2024 Supply Tech Breakthrough Awards and was listed on Forbes 2024 and 2023 list of America's best startup employers. They are a friend of the show. And so who's with me today? It's OneRail. Now, OneRail is a leading omni-channel fulfillment solution pairing best-in-class software with logistics as a service to provide dependability and speed to help businesses meet their delivery promise. With a real-time connected network of 12 million drivers, OneRail matches the right vehicle for the right delivery so brands lower their expenses and increase capacity to rapidly scale their businesses. And it's Bill, founder and CEO at OneRail, that is joining me for the show today. Now, Bill is a startup entrepreneur focused on developing and commercializing real-time technology networks. He has a long list of accolades to his name and uses his incredible industry experience to drive OneRail to ever-increasing success. Now, today, Bill and I will be talking all about OneRail's recent funding success, how this new investment is giving them a major boost, and we'll be exploring a new collaboration with IBM Sterling and the benefits that's going to bring for customers, plus a fintech solution expansion for OneRail's platform. And we'll be also exploring the major challenges for retailers, wholesalers in 2025 and where they need to focus for the year ahead. So welcome back to the show, Bill.
Glad to be here today, Sarah. Thank you. I think the last time we spoke was Home Delivery World.
It was. And I always love having you on the show. You are bringing so much to the industry, to technology, changing the way that supply chain professionals, your customers, are kind of thinking about the experience that they are creating and not only providing for themselves on a day-to-day basis, but also for their customers. And there's been a lot going on behind the scenes at OneRail since I last saw you. So I'm looking forward to finding out more about that today. So just in case anybody doesn't know or missed our previous episodes together, can you introduce yourself and what you do at OneRail?
Yeah. So founder and CEO of OneRail. I love what I do. We're solving a customer or shopper marketing problem with supply chain and logistics, and that sounds kind of weird, right? That's not typically something you hear, but we do. If you think about it, customers want what they want when they want it. They want it on time. They want it dependably. They want options, and we achieve that through last mile excellence. And we're doing that by merging decision logic around last mile delivery, fulfilling through the right mode, and our network of 12 million drivers, the ability to actually deliver metaphorically and realistically deliver for our customers. So when we think about what we really do, we're providing Amazon-like capabilities to everybody but Amazon, retailers and wholesalers who haven't made that, it can't make the investment to do what Amazon did, and don't have the time. And that comes down to unlocking their inventory so they can fulfill fluidly, same day, next day, with excellence at scale.
Well, and you talk about excellence, and I love that you're talking about excellence because really we should be talking about supply chain excellence. But one of the things that I want to point out as well is that you empower people by using your technology and your software, by working with OneRail, right?
We
Super
do,
important.
and in more ways than one. It's empowering to the end customer, but I think another big benefit to our customer, which is the retailer or the wholesaler, is that it lets them drive their own brand of delivery. It lets them build a delivery product. And if you think about sort of the evolution of last mile, there was, I would say between 2014 and 2020, the pandemic, there was a huge emergence of marketplaces and they did a great job. And I love them. I use marketplaces every day. I use DoorDash to order my food, and I use Shipt or Instacart to get deliveries. The problem is, though, if you're a retailer, you can't rely solely on that because you lose your brand, you lose your
Mhm.
customer, you lose your data, and it's expensive. It erodes your profits. So retailers have realized, hey, we need to launch our own brand of delivery. We need to do a better job having a Lowe's delivery experience, a Tractor Supply delivery experience. So that's what we do. We
Mm.
empower our customers to design and execute their own brand of delivery right next to the marketplaces. Again, marketplaces aren't going anywhere, but it lets each of our customers have their own experience so that they can develop loyalty, retain their data, and the unit economics work better too.
And I love the customizable component, right? Because this can really be a competitive advantage for a lot of those retailers. And to
Mhm.
be able to customize that to what you need to and tailor it to their customers is really, really important. Let's talk about the big news because you just secured $42 million of Series C funding. So, congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now,
I'll let you know when it sinks in.
now, you also had a successful Series B round in 2022. Can you talk to us about what that investment helped you achieve, that Series B? And then we'll go into what the Series C means for you.
That's a great question. So, PIBA Capital and Arsenal Growth Capital led our Series B. It was almost 2 years to the day back in 2022. And what we invested in was platform, scalability. We knew that we were going to turn on some pretty big retailers. So we had some gaps, that we needed to fill in terms of scalability. We expanded our sales team. We expanded marketing. We actually didn't even have a marketing department before our Series B. We were relying on outsourced marketing mostly. So my wife Lisa took that over, and Julia came on as really team member number one.
Powerhouse.
And Julia has done a great job architecting and orchestrating our marketing resources. So it was an investment in, again, go-to-market strategy was probably number one. The other thing we did is we spun up a data science and AI team. We took our original, I call him the first 4 million lines of code CTO, David Dashler, who led us from 0 to 4 million lines of code. And we put him in charge of data science and AI. So that was a significant step that we took 18 months after the Series B. So, I would say the third thing is we started to install scale leaders like Chris Kucharski, our Chief Product and Technical Officer. He was the CPTO at DAT Freight and Analytics, and he was the head of engineering at Angie's. So he has some significant scale experience. Peter Sear came in to run transportation, logistics optimization, and procurement. Peter is a tenured, 20-year professional in the space. We brought in Ed Karps. We brought in a kind of a private equity minded and CFO. And Ed's an operator. He's not just, some CFOs are purely quantitative. Ed has operated. He's been a CEO before. He's had his own startups, and brought him in February. So those were some of the big investments we made in the team and the technology and the go-to-market strategy, and that's what led us to where we are now.
Yeah, building that dream team to be able to help you take it to the next step with this Series C. So, how are you building on that with this new investment? I mean, we're going to dive deeper into a few core areas, but give us a bit of an overview of the OneRail vision, how this extra boost will help propel you even further forward to make even more of an impact.
Yeah, Sarah, I'd be remiss if I didn't start with the fact that McKinsey put a report out in July that 90, like 90, I'm not blending my numbers together, 90% of venture capital for logistics and supply chain tech startups reduced by 90% year over year.
Wow.
90%. So think about, you want to put the game on hard, right?
Mhm.
We just raised a Series C, which is a very difficult round under good circumstances, at a time when 90% of the funding went away.
Wow.
Which I think, yeah, there's only one way to recognize that, and that's the team. They did a heck of a job. They executed. We're blessed to have good customers. So I want to start with that because that's actually pretty unbelievable data point.
Well, and
So
it's
yeah.
significant, right? At a time where organizations and companies who have relied heavily on investment are now looking for more investment, and not all of that's going to land. And it just means also how significant this particular investment in OneRail and what that means for the brand and the market to take account of moving forward as far as the technology, the platform, and what you're bringing to the market.
Exactly. Yeah, that sums it all up. And the amount of scrutiny and diligence we had to go through, the fundamentals of the business. As you know, there's been a slowdown in tech investing overall. Valuations are fractions of what they were in 2021. So for us to do that, it just says a lot. We built a real business. There's a product market fit. We're a category of one, and I'm grateful that the capital markets have recognized that. So yeah. So what are we going to do? What are we going to
Yeah,
do with
what
it?
are you gonna
I
do
think
with
was
it?
the question. So we're gonna get one more hour of sleep tonight, and enjoy that, and then go to work tomorrow. And the work that we have to do, it's really kind of categorized in three areas. One is it's data science again. If you think about what Google did with AdWords, I remember, I'm going to date myself. I'm really old. I
No,
was
you're
in
not.
computer science class, back in 1950. Now it was 1998, but and I remember my professor teaching us about search engines, and she 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 mentioned Lycos and Alta Vista, and she said, and then there's this new one that's only 2 months old, and my friend at Stanford told me about it. It's called Google. And I remember going to it, and it's just this white screen. And I'm thinking, these guys are going to be out of money because there's no advertising. Like that's what search engines were just littered with
They
advertising.
totally were.
Yeah, it was pretty annoying actually now that I look back. But I thought I better, I'm going to get one over here and I'm going to use this as much as I can before they go out of business. So I used Google a lot, and it obviously didn't go away, right? They produced so much data
Mhm.
between 98 and about 2002, 4 years. Uh, and that data is what became the foundation of their business. It became the foundation of Google AdWords. It's
Mhm.
what gave them the ability to be a category of one. And if you think about OneRail's journey, it's not much different. And people are probably thinking, what in the heck is he talking about? Comparing OneRail to Google. Well, we are the largest and I believe the only true aggregator of last mile delivery companies, from mom and pops that have two or three trucks all the way up to the large gig economy delivery companies. We are now sitting on 4 years, 5 years of very rich data that I'm
Mhm.
not sure where else you could replicate the data set. And so for us, we started investing in data science about a year ago with David Dashler taking his role. And now we're going to be adding several senior data scientists, building that team out further. Our customers are saying, how can you help us with all this data collaborate and further optimize our deliveries, not just for cost, but for quality's sake. And that's really a huge focus for us. It's further leveraging our data. Blue Yonder had over 100 data scientists when JDA required them. It's an amazing data point. So for us, it's all about the data and unlocking further findings. We're launching our first data product, which is a proof of delivery AI, which is an AI based proof of delivery where a human doesn't have to inspect a proof of delivery. It can be done now utilizing our platform. So
Wow.
that's really the first big bucket is data. The second is just further deepening our logic upstream in the order. I think when you and I talked last time at Home Delivery World, we had just acquired OrderBot, distributed order management system, and we're really excited to announce a partnership with the largest order management system on the planet serving retail, which is IBM Sterling.
Yeah,
So
so
that's exciting.
that is really, really exciting. I mean, that's a big name. And I come from freight, right? I come from an operations background, and I won't date myself, but when I was in operations, everything was manual. Trying to get that proof of delivery was a nightmare. So you
Yeah.
talking about making that easier, I can just hear the audience and the supply chain professionals around the globe sort of sigh of relief. But talk to us about this new partnership with IBM Sterling, and it's an order and fulfillment suite. What does it do? How does it help your customers? Talk to us a little bit more about why you brought this together.
Yeah, Sterling has really, I think, led the way with Sterling Intelligent Promising. And what that is it's really a modular solution for how they can allow their customers, retailers, to be even more accurate in empowering a customer experience around inventory. Where is the inventory? What is the optimal location to fulfill from? It's really the intelligence
Right.
behind order management and e-commerce. And the piece that we bring to the table is this massive courier network that we have. They've done a phenomenal job with that in the parcel mode, but now to be able to do it for same day, we're bringing essentially same day delivery to the Sterling Intelligent Promising Suite.
Mhm.
So if you're a Sterling customer, you can now access OneRail through your existing Sterling integration. So you don't need to do another integration. I don't know a retailer out there that doesn't like the idea of doing one less integration.
And
And
the IT resources, right?
yeah, right.
You
I
know,
mean,
having to go to the IT team, I almost feel like I see supply chain professionals or leaders, knocking on the door, head down. I got another request for you, please.
right. Right. And it's dreaded, right? They hate
Yeah.
it. So we're trying to remove friction by doing that for the customer. But the other thing is, I think when we look at the pandemic, there was a lot of kind of point solutions, solving little pieces of the problem that
Right.
emerged. And now what we're seeing is a lot of deprecation of some of those platforms because they're not solving enough of the bigger problem. So
Right.
Sterling now can talk about, IBM can speak to the fact that they can help further reduce dependency on other data, what eventually become data silos, right?
Right.
Which are solving a little bit, for customer experience or tracking. Now it's all in one solution, accessing one network of 12 million drivers through one API. So, we're proud of that. It's going to let Sterling customers again enjoy same day delivery at tremendous scale and without having to buy, essentially a whole nother platform.
Yeah, and then what about like walk me through some of the top benefits of that. I'm hearing more
Yeah.
and more that I think that some of, the retailers, the customers that are using solutions like yours are looking for sort of that one platform with, one login, one dashboard,
Yeah.
rather than a few different disparate pieces. Although I have been seeing technology collaborating and coming together, just like your partnership as well, but they're kind of looking for that one
Yeah.
solution to be able to log into. So, what are
Mhm.
some of the benefits? You just mentioned that that is one of the benefits. What are some of the other ones as well?
Yeah, so really central to that is dynamic fulfillment is the capability that enables a retailer to offer their whole entire footprint of stores in a geography when a shopper is shopping instead of just one store. And that's really important to understand. Today, if you go to many retail websites and you're trying to buy 10 items, but only 9 of them are in stock, it's going to give you an option to have what's called a split order. So what they'll do is they'll ship that 10th item to you via UPS or FedEx instead of getting it same day. And that's been the challenge with same day is having all of the inventory in the right place at the right time so you can get it same day. So if that one item's missing, because they can only see one store, and let's say there's 20 stores around the greater Dallas area, that's expensive, first of all. The shipper, the retailer has to pay for that parcel order. The other option is they'll tell the customer, hey, you can go to one of these stores over here. There's 5 stores that have it. Well, that's not convenient to the customer. And then the third option is you just cancel your order, which to me is not an option. So, what we're enabling Sterling and ultimately the customer to experience is if there's 20 stores and there's 10 items, perhaps 13 of those stores have inventory in full.
Right.
We're enabling the customer to seamlessly get that. And perhaps it's going to deliver it from a little further away. And maybe it costs $1 or $2 more, but it's far less expensive
Mm.
than a split order, an out of stock, a canceled order, or the customer just being frustrated. So by taking, again, Sterling Intelligent Promising around the Sterling suite and merging it with OneRail, we can start to, I call it in one transaction, we can start looking at the whole geo pool of inventory, all the delivery options, and make a decision, and the customer's happy, and they don't even see any of that. That's the
Yeah.
best part.
Well, the customization piece that I mentioned before, I really like that. But then also the choices. Really, when you think about supply chain, when you think about last mile delivery, logistics, what we really want is as supply chain professionals, is we want the choices available to us to be able to make those decisions that are right for us in that moment. And that could
Yeah,
change day to day, right?
totally.
And so it's great to be able to have those choices, but also customize it to a point where, one retailer, like you said, could have 10 different locations. One retailer could have 20, some could have three. What does that mean? And it looks very different to everyone when you are working with different options as far as what your logistics and your delivery options look like to your customers. So I'm glad to hear that. But also, you said behind the scenes, they don't really have to do too much. It's all being done for them behind the scenes, right?
That's correct. It's completely behind the scenes, and the customer, they just see what the options are, and most importantly, the accuracy of fulfilling those options.
And
I
they
mean, you can,
trust it.
yes, it's the
Yes.
only way to build trust is repeatable success, and
Yeah,
and then you build a behavior, and then you build loyalty, right? But it starts
exactly.
with, hey, it works. Hey, I like that. I'm gonna use it more. And now I'm loyal to it. I'm loyal to Lowe's because they're delivering same day, at greater than 95% on time. So that's takes time though. Trust takes time, behavior
Yes.
takes time. But if you don't have a good foundation, you certainly that's what's held a lot of retailers back. They couldn't get trust around same day, doing it the way, kind of the legacy way, which is some are integrated couriers, some aren't. They're doing it through email, they're doing it very manually, and it's hard without any data, right? And that's the harder part.
Yeah, I can only imagine those email strings. You know how they the email strings in your email? I
Yeah,
actually just found out that there's a tool where you can summarize those email strings, which I think I'm going to look into because I
yeah.
can't go through 25 emails.
I need to look
But
into that myself. Yeah.
But they also don't need to do that if they're on your platform. Now, I want to talk about another area that you are focusing on with this investment, because fintech is a big part of this as well. And I think that's part of the expansion of your platform, and you're going into freight audit pay and claims. Can you talk to us about that part of the expansion, what it's going to do to help customers? Why are you going into freight audit pay and claims?
So yeah, great question. So we were our first customer. We had kind of an archaic way that we were auditing the couriers in our network,
Right.
and it was January or February we started this journey, and we found about 8.5% of our billings or of our courier billings were overcharged and
Mhm.
we're not compliant, to the rate card. So if you go out into the ecosystem of freight audit and pay, there's a lot of great providers out there that focus on parcel, LTL, ocean, air, and rail. Problem is, and Gartner doesn't even recognize courier as a mode.
Mm.
And courier is complex. You're dealing with the finite delivery, geo coordinates. Did it happen or not? A photo is preferable for proof of delivery. So we decided we're just going to build our own. So we spun up, a team and built a freight audit and pay solution. Saved us over $6 million this year so far.
Wow.
Um, yeah, and it's just the way freight audit and pay has worked has been exceptionally manual around matching up, as purchase order,
Yeah.
with proof of delivery and rate card. And that matchup happens kind of on the back end, and there's usually a human involved. Well, if you think about what OneRail does, we see every move that the courier makes. We know if they were there or not. We have a photo for proof of delivery, not just a scribble on a piece of paper, which is called proof of delivery in the paper world.
Mhm.
So by matching all that data up, we're already doing it. We just found a way to apply it, and now we have a team that manages the exceptions around that just like we do for delivery itself. And that solution, I'm super excited to bring that to market. as part of our kind of our post Series C expansion. Again, we were our first customer. Customers can use our freight audit and pay without even using our delivery services. So it'll
Wow.
give them the opportunity, the benefit because they'll be fully integrated to have full tracking, full visibility. And then if they want to use us for delivery, they can. But more than anything, they can start auditing because what's happening is they're spending a lot of money auditing manually what could be done digitally. And as you know, some of these last mile deliveries are only $8 deliveries, right? So if you're charging $1 to $2 to audit it, it starts to get pretty expensive. So we're doing
Yeah.
that at a much lower cost.
That doesn't really make any sense when you put it that way. But
Yeah.
also I think that, it's really important that you are your own first customer. I love that
Yeah.
you tell that story because at the end of the day, you're not asking your customers to test it first. You've
Right.
actually tested it on yourself and made sure that it's the right product that needs to go out in the market. So they don't have to worry about necessarily updates at the very, very beginning. But I think isn't this the only solution on the market that does this for last mile? Is that right?
It is. I mean, Gartner doesn't even recognize it in the market guide.
Interesting.
So we're excited. I mean, it's hard when you create kind of a new category,
Mhm.
which is what we're about to
Education.
do. But yeah, and the reason why is if you kind of reverse engineer how to get there,
Mhm.
you have to have an aggregated network of fully integrated network of couriers across pretty much all asset types from small to large if you want to go to market and do this the way we're doing it. Now you can continue doing it manually, but it's not really transforming anything. And
No.
getting down into these granular regional, local, super regional couriers is the only way you can do it. And we have 1,100 of them now that are connected. So otherwise, you're just doing it the old way. So we're excited about that. Yeah, and it makes it so much easier with our freight audit pay solution too, because think of the flurry of invoices you get with think of a large hospital network, right, that has
Mhm.
100 couriers sending them invoices daily. Now no invoices come in, they tell the couriers what they're owed, and they can go through a kind of a dispute process if the payment doesn't align. So we literally make the invoices go away.
That is so interesting. And I really hope there's nobody out there that are doing it like I used to do it with invoices, where I had to stamp the invoice and put the date on it and sign it and say that it's
Yeah.
okay to pay. Can we please make sure in 2025 nobody is doing that anymore? Because I feel like it's a waste of everybody's time. So go and check out that freight audit and pay. So I want to ask you, looking towards 2025, now you collect a lot of data, you speak to a lot of retailers and customers, you look internally, you've got the dream team. Talk to us about what some of the biggest challenges are that are going to be facing retailers and wholesalers in 2025. I know it's kind of like a crystal ball question, but I think if anybody can answer this question, you can, Bill.
We've seen a little bit of an erosion of a certain segment of customer, which is more the economy customer. You had Cons, Badcock Furniture, now American Freight Furniture go out of business. Big Lots filed for Chapter 11. I think there's erosion with inflation,
Mhm.
with credit, 75% or so of credit for that tier of customer has been consumed. So they have less spending power, and I think it's starting to really impact the market. And I don't think it's over. I think these things take a long time to unfold. So I still think there's probably, I don't know. That's why it's a crystal ball question, but it's probably going to take another year, to work out some of the challenges that we've had the past 2 years, since interest rates went up so high and drove inflation, across the board, various reasons, not just interest rates. So it's just going to take some time to work through the system. But I'm concerned about that tier, which is kind of the economy or value customer.
So then talk to me about where you think retailers and wholesalers sort of need to focus for that year ahead. What should they be thinking about and prioritizing? I mean, some people, we're talking about technology, implementing technology. Is that what they should be thinking about and prioritizing? Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so it really comes back to efficiency and meeting your customer where they are. So you not only have to get better, but you have to do it on a smaller budget.
Yeah.
And was recently at a tech conference. It was a Houlihan Lokey tech conference, and they talked about there being a 10-year investment cycle that we're probably 2 years into for supply
Wow.
chain and logistics tech. So at a time when 90% of the venture capital is going away for supply chain and logistics tech, we're still in like 8 more years of investment that's going to happen, which really favors a lot of the incumbents, right? The systems of record that have been there for decades. But that's really going to be critical. I mentioned deprecation of platforms. I think, again, I'm seeing it more than ever. Our customers or our prospective customers are saying, hey, I have something I'm using for tracking. I have something I'm using for customer notifications and experience. I have a delivery solution. I have a shipping station that does labels. I just want one thing.
Right.
And I'm talking about this through the lens of what we see, which is taking four platforms and just going down to one. I would like to think they're probably thinking that way across the board, right? Is
Mhm.
how do we take a lot of normalize it so that we can then optimize it and get the efficiencies out of it, right?
Yeah.
So that's the problem. The data silos are what holds up the optimization. The
Mhm.
optimization is where the value is. Um, and if you're using too many different, whether it's payments, whether it's logistics tech, whether it's shopper marketing, I think that's the motion we're seeing retailers take is, getting down to one normalized data layer so they can execute everything.
Yeah, I think you're right. And also we're seeing a lot of collaboration. So you talk about, deprecation, but I think there's also a lot of collaboration between technology companies as well because they're really feeling the
Yeah.
pressure from customers to be able to come together to provide one solution and share data, which I think is really exciting because traditionally supply chain logistics has been very siloed and everybody has been like, stay away from my data. But I
Yeah.
think we're starting to realize as an industry for all of us to move forward and move forward successfully, we really need to come together and collaborate and figure out what that frictionless platform data source is for the customer.
Yeah, a decentralized, fully interoperable solution is absolutely the way of the future. It's the way of the now. It's the way of it should have been. But I think what you find is, and this isn't, I think this is more a tech company, like an earlier stage tech company mindset is to not promote interoperability as much as you should. There's always this fear that somebody's going to take from you. If I'm
Mhm.
sharing my data, then you're going to have my data, and then you could do what I do. But the reality is, the more friction you remove, the more the whole ecosystem can scale.
Mhm.
And I'll even mention one of my competitors, Bring. Not
Mhm.
never afraid to mention good people. Guy Block is a great person, and him and I had a conversation about this. We both believe strongly that interoperability and a fully connected ecosystem is the only way to work. It's the only way to scale. And I couldn't have more conviction for that. But at the same time, you need both, right? You sort of
Mhm.
you need to be efficient about how many solutions you're connecting, but the systems that you're relying on need to talk. And
Mhm.
as much as last mile logistics comes full circle with shopper marketing, those systems have to talk to Salesforce. They have to talk to
Mhm.
marketing platforms as much as they do supply chain platforms.
Absolutely. And customers are going to drive that. If you aren't thinking about this going into 2025, it's definitely something to think about because they're going to be demanding that moving forward. They want it to be easier. They don't want it to be a strain on their IT department. There's so many things that they're already dealing with. They want to bring in technology and a frictionless way of being able to optimize what they're doing, their decision making, et cetera, et cetera. So OneRail is dedicated to providing a frictionless last mile With 100% visibility, reduced shipping times, and responsive customer experiences, and with a big new investment, the OneRail you know and love is about to get even better. Well, did you have a guess at today's big question? Well, at the top of the show, I asked you the pandemic really boosted customer demand for same-day delivery. But what was its projected growth in 2024? Well, it's 25%. Now, that's a big jump that brands are having to fulfill with the help of partners like OneRail. If you'd like to find out more about them, head over to onerail.com. A massive thanks to the team at OneRail and especially Bill for joining me on the show again today.
Thank you, Sarah. I really appreciate it. Always great to talk with you. And we'll see you at the next show. I don't know if that's Manifest or NRF, but have a great holiday nonetheless.
We are going to do that. I'm going to see you at Manifest. And once again, a big congratulations because I'm super excited to see where you take OneRail.